Once people have engaged with me, I will slow it down. Can we slow down here? Can you tell me what I'll use mindset work first? Like when you had that circumstance happen, what was your first thought? What would, because it's so sometimes so fast, we don't even know what thoughts we're operating from. And in the fast, it's more subconscious. In the slow, it's more intentional.
Welcome to the Wellness Growth Code podcast. I'm your host, Justine, and this is where we talk to leaders in the health and wellness space about what's actually driving growth right now, from visibility to smarter systems to AI. No fluff, just real insights you can take and use in your own business. So let's dive into it. I'm very excited to be joined by Diana Murphy. She's a holistic life and mindset coach for high impact leaders based in Atlanta. She's been coaching for over 12 years. She hosts her own podcast and works with CEOs, executives, and entrepreneurs who are brilliant at what they do, but are hitting a wall they can't think their way through. She's the coach, in her words, that people call her when shit hits the fan. And I love this because as a business owner, it does often.
And it's also shift hits the fan because it's like being honest about when things get really, really rough, but it's also normalizing growth when you make a big pivot or step in. So it's also when shift hits the fan, and put the F in parentheses because
Okay. And I
I
just
love
reread
using
that.
both. Like
Okay.
both are when leaders get very, very can get very derailed or
And that's so
burnt out.
because I was like, oh, is it meant to be shift? And I said shit, but I'm an Australian, so
No.
we say that all the time.
Well,
Yeah.
and I started with the shit hits the fan and realized that I also was working in high growth engagements with clients, not just when hard things were happening to them. And I work with people in a long-term way. And so normally during a 6 months or a year, something significant happens. We're human. And I have loved being the coach that can support leaders when they're going through something really big, big identity shift or a big event in their lives. But they
Okay.
have a business to run.
Yes, and this is so important. And I was going to actually ask you to dig deeper into what you do, but that is it in a
Yeah.
nutshell.
It really, yeah, I think that, and I think people understand the context. I love long-term coaching engagements. It's not
Mhm.
that I don't do shorter runs, but I love working with people in a slow is the new fast way that we know we have. Like, we don't have to solve this problem in a quick period of time. It's helping them lean into their own genius and start operating from a more grounded place is the type of work I do. And that's not a fast. It just isn't something that we do quickly. We have to unlearn some things.
But that's really hard. Slow is fast for someone that's
Mhm.
operating. Like,
Absolutely.
is that, yeah, what is your challenges when you're working with like CEOs and leaders?
So the slow, I try not to even use that statement very often because it's so seen negatively.
Mm.
But what I'm talking about are the slow moments where you actually drop into your body, into your kind of own intuition, and really react in your world and with the people you're working with, and with whether it's clients in a one-on-one fashion or with a team, that you drop in and really operate and speak from intention, not from your own, like that emotional reaction, or when things are really tight or important. We can tend to get so jacked up that we're in our head only and not in our values and our integrity. And in that kind of, I call it a yummy space of what you really intend on growing from this, either one conversation or the things that you're bringing up
Mm.
with
I,
people. Does that?
I love, yes, yes. But how do you even get people to slow down, like, rather than,
That's the fun part of a coaching conversation, is that once people have engaged with me, I will slow it down. Can we
mm,
slow down here? Can you tell me what, I'll use mindset work first, like when you had that circumstance happen, what was your first thought? What would, because it's so sometimes so fast, we don't even know what thoughts we're operating from.
mm.
And in the fast, it's more subconscious. In the slow, it's more intentional.
Mm.
So it's
And
just slowing down the conversation and getting a different awareness about what you're thinking in that moment that's creating that response.
even me, I'm noticing, oh, I'm fast. I need to slow down as you're speaking. But
It's your
um,
gift. It is a gift that we give ourselves. Like people's like, breathe, slow down. Well, it's the last thing when someone else tells you. That's
yes,
right. Think about when our parents were like, you're just like, slow down, don't do that. Like it's like, no. And
yeah.
we do that to ourselves. So it's making an intentional decision. Where do you want to be reacting from?
Mm. And I guess just on this slow conversation, if you don't slow down, what are the consequences? Um, yeah.
So think about the moment where you're going into a really tough meeting with a team member. And if you're all in the anxiety of how they're going to respond or like what you're worried about, like that you need to speak with them, but you're not dropping in, like you're realizing what's happening in that moment that's so fast that I help people slow down with is there's probably three or four thoughts. This isn't going to go well. I've got to make this happen. I can't fail again. I can't, like, it's all this subconscious tracking that goes on in the background that when we get more aware of it, we can go, oh, I see you there as you get all jacked up in your body and just drop in. No, I know this person means well. This mistake happened. We're going to talk about that. But they get to know I honor like this experience, but how can we make it better together? Versus, oh my God, I have to talk to them. And then you come off all in your emotion and nervousness. That's a small example of a
Mm.
conversational way that it can, because when leaders are really upset about news, they're not dropping in and respecting what they have with their team or partners, clients even.
Mm. And why is for someone that's like might be like, I don't need a coach, why is it important to work with a coach and what kind of results are you seeing when you work with
There's
someone?
so much that we don't realize does, like what I'm speaking here about slowing down is a lot of subconscious thought that just goes on repeat without our permission.
Mm.
And our minds are unique. We're mammals. We really are mammal, and so we react to like anxiety and stress in the same in our body, but our brain tries to make sense of it. And if we don't take time to be more aware of what those thoughts are, and we're the only mammals that are able to observe our own thinking. And so when we observe our own thinking, we can decide if it's valid, if it's where we want to operate from or not.
Mm.
You know, do you want to operate from this isn't going to go well? Or do you want to operate from this is making me nervous? And what do I want to create in this moment?
Mm.
Connection with the teammate, understanding, and maybe slowing down enough to listen to what the other person has to say. And then that leader has more data and access to wisdom
Mm.
and insight.
And is that one of the big skills of being a good leader is listening, or what would you say?
Yes. And
Yeah.
first themselves and taking responsibility for their internal chatter. And then really making sure you understand the perspective of the people that you're either working with as a client or for, with as a team,
Mm.
anybody that you're in relationship with, because we will make assumptions through our own lens. And there's so much insight for people to slow down and have a slower conversation. And it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you were thinking that. I didn't mean to, it's like there's so much insight to be had.
Yeah. And I guess two human beings being present with each other is such
It's
a,
so good,
it
right?
is
We
so
know
good.
those moments, right? Like
Yeah.
those are our good friendships. Those are our good, we can create that same energy in a professional setting.
Mm. So I guess you work at the intersection of like mindset, leadership, coaching. What trends are you currently seeing in the coaching and leadership space?
Hmm. People are starting to understand that it's not just mindset, that it's also energy or emotional work too. And that's where my work of helping people when shift hits the fan is so key, because when you are having overwhelming emotional experiences that you're either creating because you decided to open a business or whatever that, or a new pivot, or the emotions of loss or any other thing, when we have been taught to almost, I call it, dishonor them and stuff them because we think they're going to get in the way of good work, but honoring them and slowing down with them a little bit and allowing them, emotions are really meant to move. They're energy in motion. And so the trend of being able to have access, people are talking about breath work, we're talking about yoga, we're talking about a lot of embodied experiences. And this helps us to manage our emotional experience and not make it mean something's going wrong when we're feeling a certain way.
Yeah, I love that. And what about, you've been doing this for 12 years? If you look back at
Mm.
your career, what's one of the moments you've been most proud of?
Mm. Just doing it, that I did it. I was an empty nester and was coming out of a season of launching two kids into music school and then math school, and had a partner that was traveling like 90%. Like the world was about everyone else.
Mm.
And it was interesting, when I stopped, I realized I had a business in me. And
Yeah.
I am so proud I never let go
Wow.
of that dream of
Wow.
being, running a thriving practice that is, highly, I can keep it boutique, have high impact. Um, just that I've been able to affect and impact the people that I worked with for these years is just, it makes me really proud that I did it.
That's amazing. Yeah, congratulations. And what about one of your biggest lessons that you've learnt in business that maybe
Mm.
you could
Well,
share
it
with
seems
people?
so simple, but I think it ties into what you've been asking, all the way through. What are we, what is in the forefront of coaching and what is on the, I thought I was being taught. It was because it was mindset only and just a kind of very, what I would call a very masculine way of coaching. If you just think this way and believe, you will create. And I just had so much to learn as a business builder, but I was a really good coach. And somewhere I got in my mind that if I was not a good coach until I was creating six figures.
Yeah.
And so I was defeating myself before I got started, thinking that there was this thing to achieve and then I would be a good coach. I actually was very naturally a good coach. It's a craft, but I was very naturally good at it. And when I started seeing that I just had more to learn as a business builder, it unleashed my work. And I started leaning into doing more coaching live and doing more events where I help people. And I just leaned into it, and the money came. It came very naturally. But it's a
Wow.
hard lesson, thinking I had to get rid of worry to be able to create, that I had to be, really confident or it wasn't going to work. And it was like, oh no, I was living with all that anxiety and worry.
Yeah.
And then, but leaning into what I did know. And I
Mm.
think it's really key for all of us to really take pause often. Like, what am I really good at and what is working, so that we can keep our brain from interrupting our good
Yeah,
growth.
well, I mean, there's really so many hats you have to wear. You come out being good
Hmm.
at one thing, like helping people,
Yeah.
but there's such the growing the business side of things, the
Yes.
marketing, the
Yeah.
everything the else, getting and accumulating clients. And I guess just on that, like how do people find out about you, or how do you get clients?
Um, well, certainly it is through the podcast, or if they've been referred to me, they have a way to get to know me and see if they're comfortable reaching out to me. I really do work on a lot of referral business. I do a lot of live networking. Um, and I have a subscription list. I have a blog list. And so usually what happens for me, and I hope this helps your community, is I do gatherings and events that I want to do. And
Mm,
I drop into, I've been doing for the last year, and I'm shifting it a little bit, but I was doing intimate dinners with women in my community.
Oh, I love
And I
that.
was serving a need I had and they had as solopreneurs of not really having rooms or events where you could hear from people that were struggling like you were or succeeding like you were and have no one that would understand. And so I handpicked people to come to that table that were doing similar work. And those conversations were so impactful for all of us. And now I've created that in a Zoom gathering every other week. And me giving myself permission to create these gatherings. And from those, I know people creates automatic know, like, and trust. But the goal is really not to create clients. It's to create these events and ideas. And then when I make offers or when someone knows they really would love the support of a coach, they drop in and hire me within a session. It's like they
Yeah.
may be waiting and watching and watching. And then it's like, oh, I'm going to start working with you in January. Do you have an opening? And I'm like,
Yeah.
what? I thought you were going to hire me 8 months ago when we talked in the parking lot. And it
Yeah.
just is like trusting the process that my
Mm.
clients know when to hire me.
Yeah. And also you're building just such wonderful community, which is needed in the world of
Yes, it
AI,
is needed.
you
It
know. So
is. I feel
I
like I
think,
love bringing that type of support because I have it. I have always invested in being in groups and whether it's a mastermind or under other leaders that I highly respect and I really have high regard for the work they're doing. So it helps me model it. And that is literally what's happening in this last 2 years, I've been in a really powerful container and I am now creating that same safety and, in the gatherings that I'm doing.
yeah, I love it. And I guess if you, with your business now, like if there was a magic wand and you could fix anything in it right now, what would that be?
In my business,
Yeah.
hmm. Yeah, it is. My brain loves to think about all these concepts all the
Yeah.
time. And I do have a virtual assistant that catches a lot of the work I do, does clips of my podcasts and things so that we can promote my work and get I feel like I'm in a year of opening my throat and really just saying what I really want to say, without it like, oh, this is how I'll get clients. It's like, no, I am going to just start speaking about the topics that are important.
Yeah.
But the magic wand would be being able to do that in a really higher impact way, like
Mhm.
more audience, more voices. I would like to be speaking to more groups. I would like to, for my podcast, to hit more spaces. I would like more of my gatherings to be having them invite friends. Like I would
Mm.
love the ripple effect. I don't want us to keep this encouraging, which happens in these groups, this encouraging atmosphere or the insights that I have as a coach to be just kept for the people that are in my sphere.
I love that. Well, I mean, I'm a few hours from you. Let me know your next gathering in Atlanta, and I
Oh,
would
I'd
definitely
love it. Oh,
help
I'd
you.
love that. I would love, yeah, you just let me know. And I'm
I
doing
would.
the every other week gatherings. I'm now doing them on Zoom. So we will
Okay.
get you an invitation.
Well, that sounds great. Yeah, and I do love the, the in person feels there's something rich about that, isn't it? And I
Yes.
know it's a bigger time commitment, but I am seeing more and more how community
Yes.
events will just rise and rise, especially with AI. So,
I
um,
love it's something that I learn in those in-person ones, like it feeds me in a way that it helps me to do my online work in a more vibrant way. Does that make sense? It's like
yes,
when I've experienced it in person, I know what I need to bring to the virtual room
yeah.
to help that.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds great. Well, yeah. And I guess if someone wants to find out about you or your coaching or your services or the gatherings, where is the best
Yeah,
place to go?
my website and the gatherings even have a full page of explanation what they are, and if you're drawn to it, please join us. But yes, on my website, dianamurphycoaching.com, everything, my blogs, my podcasts, everything's there. You can certainly get my podcast, The Leaders Table with Diana Murphy. And I say that because I didn't check the title. There's a few of them. But The Leaders Table is my podcast right now. And I've just relaunched it. I just have 4 fresh episodes. But there's also great history there with interviewing other solopreneurs like you're doing. So there's a
Yeah,
lot of good juicy stuff there if you
I
like my
love it.
approach.
And I guess, for someone in our audience right now that might be going through a big pivot and feeling like they don't know what they're doing,
Mm.
what would be the biggest lesson you could offer them?
To any of the jaggedy, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, any of the thoughts that really cause either a lot of stress because you just have to push, like many just push it down to move through, that if you and your audience could understand that those are actually mindsets that are asking to be released because you're stepping into a new big, and that it's very normal to have the chatter, and to normalize that experience and not make it mean it's true and not make it mean anything wrong that it's coming up.
Yeah.
It's almost like the old way has to go and it comes up when we do a big thing.
Yeah. And it's just so interesting as you're talking, like, you really have to know yourself to be a great leader.
We
And
do.
I think maybe the younger generation are working on it more, but like
Yeah, I do
middle-aged.
too. I think there's a more natural, like, interest in a way of raising children and a way of relating to one another and they're undoing maybe some of the harshness of capitalism or harshness of things that we have kind of embedded, they're imprinted a little bit. So a
Yeah.
lot of the work I do is undoing that when someone leaves corporate, that's with them. And it's
Yeah.
helping them to start a business where they don't operate in that same, like a 50-hour work week could create success. Oh, what if a 35-hour work week
Yeah.
created success because the 15 hours were all about investing in things that really supported that leader.
That is like, yeah, so many gold nuggets in this conversation. And that's interesting because I still have my mindset from working at a TV
Yeah.
station. And work, had to sit at your desk for 9 hours a day.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you weren't doing, like, still 25 years later, that is plaguing me. So it's
Yes.
interesting. Yeah, work
Yeah.
smarter.
And so there's unlearning and watching, like, I guess the best example, I'll do a quick one, was a doctoral student that was getting a doctoral degree, but also was running a coaching practice. And she was about to head into finals. And she knew that she only had, like, she knows how the brain works and how long she can keep attention. But the thoughts, like you're talking about sitting at a desk 9 hours a day, I can't sleep, I can't. And she decided to enter finals and trust that when she got mentally fatigued, that she
Yeah.
would honor that and go, like, even if she just gave herself an hour break, but she would go walk, she would go have a meal with her partner, she would do something really yummy, whatever it was, like the most decadent, like dessert or whatever. And it was like she realized what a beautiful reset it was for her brain. And she still got straight A's, but she felt great going through it. And everybody
Wow.
wanted to know her secret because they're
God.
watching her not grind till 2 in the morning. Our brain
Yeah.
shuts down at some point, like it doesn't work. I
Yeah.
wish it did, but we're mammals. We're not
Yeah.
machines.
Gosh, that is so advice I need because, yeah, I felt like I was pushing, and my body was saying, screaming out to stop.
Yeah.
And then I stopped, but I did get up at 4 a.m. to try and finish the rest of the
Yeah,
work. So,
and sometimes that's the way to do it. When we honor those moments, we have to, it's building trust
mm,
that you will come back online later. And that's what I've created in my life is this rhythm of, ooh, I am not feeling creative right now. I'm not going to write that podcast or whatever is my next to do. And I give
yeah,
myself a lot of grace around it. And then, but I also let myself think about it, and then when I do mark time, then I go try it again. And it, like, oh my gosh, that was so easy. It creates a
mm.
lot of ease if we honor the rhythms that our body is telling us
I love
that
that.
it
That's such a
needs.
beautiful place to end the conversation. I could
Oh,
keep for ages, but yes, honor the rhythm and the slowing down. I love it. Well, thank you so much for your wisdom today on the show,
oh,
and
you're
thanks for being
welcome. If
you
anybody's
serious.
hungering to know how to slow down when it's the last thing that feels successful, that is my work. It is. I love bringing that to, we should all be enjoying what we're creating. We
I
really
know.
get to have that. We get
Yeah.
to have that.
I feel like so many people need to hear
Yeah.
that and listen deeply to that because there was so
Yeah.
much wisdom in that. And, you're not slowing down is not wrong. It's slowing down to, I guess, speed up, or the slowing down is the success, right?
Yeah, it
Because,
is. It is.
yeah.
Our
So,
biggest inspirations and wisdom come from those moments. And the slowing down is very, like even what we were talking about in the beginning conversation, it's momentary or it's
yeah,
half an hour. It's thrilling that our brain is so malleable that if we just honor some of the pause, it responds so beautifully. It's like, "Oh, I've got all this for you."
I love it. I'm going to try and do that today and take a break
Awesome.
and
Let me know how it goes. We're
rest.
cheering you on, Justine. This should be fun,
It's
right?
going to be
Yes.
hard, but I'm going to
Yeah.
try
Yes.
it.
Yes.
All right. Well, Diana, thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of the day. And yeah, thanks for being on the
Thanks so
podcast.
much for having me as a guest. This was great. We need to do more of this.
I would love it. Yeah. All
Okay.
right.